Well, the relentless surge of migrants trying to cross our southern border, well, that crush continues to put a strain on our already overwhelmed officials in parts of Texas. The migrants are told just keep coming, and not only from South America and the Central American countries, but even as far as Eastern Europe and beyond. The Rio Grande Valley, especially hard hit, and that is where our Bill Mallusian is standing by live with the very latest from there. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Eric. Good afternoon to you. What you said is exactly correct. These migrants continue to come in from literally all around the world. Case in point, take a look at this video we shot right here in La Jolla, Texas, earlier this morning. What you're looking at here are a group of Romanians who crossed illegally here into La Jolla. That is in Eastern Europe next to Bulgaria and the Ukraine. Also mixed in with those Romanians were some Albanians. So again, these are countries in Eastern Europe that have absolutely nothing to do with those Northern Triangle countries, and just goes to show how far some of these people are coming. They were part of a much bigger group. Take a look at this video we shot this morning as well. It was a group of about 150 to 200 migrants who had crossed over into La Jolla illegally this morning. You see in the background of the shot the incomplete border wall. What happens is these migrants will come across on rafts across the Rio Grande, and then they will simply just walk around that incomplete border wall. Construction was started on it, but it was halted as soon as President Joe Biden took office back in January. So it's just a piece of metal out in the dirt right now, and they just walk right around it. Take another look at this piece of video from our drone crew here, showing the kinds of migrants who show up here in La Jolla during these early morning hours. Typically, it's these families. These are not the runners. These are the families who are actively seeking out Border Patrol, looking to give themselves up because they believe under the Biden administration they will have a chance of being released into the country with a future court date. And to that point, former DHS Secretary Chad Wolf believes that reports that the Biden administration is considering paying migrant families who were separated at the border during the Trump administration. He believes that's potentially pulling more migrants to the border now. Take a listen to what he had to say.
What the Biden administration should be doing is going into court and fighting that frivolous lawsuit. The United States government has already brought a lot of these parents back to the United States, have paroled them in here into the United States. And then on top of that, to pay them for breaking the law is it's absolutely ludicrous.
And then take a look at these photos right here. This is near Sassabee, Arizona, in Border Patrol's Tucson sector. What you're looking at, our agents found 43 unaccompanied children. They were all Guatemalans mixed in with part of a group that crossed illegally. Unaccompanied minors have been a huge, huge thing that has been happening during this border crisis. 144,000 during fiscal year 2021. We're just 1 month into fiscal year 2022. Since October, there have already been nearly 13,000 unaccompanied minors who have shown up here at our border. We'll send it back to you.
Wow, not just Romania, but also from Africa, Middle Eastern countries, and almost all around the world, we're told, still flocking here, trying to get in. Bill, thank you. Martha?
All right, Bill and Eric. Meanwhile, as the migrant crisis there shows no signs of slowing down, federal law enforcement officials are warning about the surge of fentanyl smuggling along the southern border. Agents there say they seized more than 11,000 pounds of the powerful opioid over a period of 12 months. And DEA officials blame that drug they're blaming that drug increase for a sharp increase in overdose deaths in the U.S.
Our streets are inundated with fentanyl, and specifically when it comes to counterfeit pills. Some pills are poorly made, but some are nearly identical. The only way you're going to know is with a chemist. Nobody's has a chemist available to test pills, so therefore you just don't know.
Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich joins us now. So listen, you know this very well, sir. Drug overdose deaths in your state are at record levels. I mean, in what ways, first of all, the different ways, if you could tell us, how are these drug cartels smuggling this fentanyl in?
Arthel, thank you for having me on, and I'm sorry we have to keep talking about this issue of the Biden administration's failure to secure our border. They've ceded operational control to the cartels, and as a result of that, we've seen this record spike in fentanyl coming across our border. And it's not just fentanyl. We see methamphetamine, heroin, other hard drugs. And I know I was a gang prosecutor for years, and when we see the prices falling like they are now, it's because the supply has dramatically increased. And so I was at the border last week, and you literally saw migrants migrants coming across with luggage, handheld rolled luggage, and while they're doing that, the agents have to process them and they release them back into our communities. And meanwhile, the cartels are taking advantage of that and literally shipping, carloads of drugs across our border. And just last week, one traffic stop here in Arizona, 30,000 fentanyls. One stop, 30,000 fentanyl pills were found. 2 milligrams of fentanyl could kill someone, Arthel. Wow. So that's enough fentanyl to kill the entire population of a city like Philadelphia.
Oh, boy. Has the DEA stepped in? It is heartbreaking. Has the DEA stepped in?
We are actually working our office very closely with the DEA. And look, agents, whether they're federal agents, whether they're state officers, we are doing everything we can. But it's no longer a crisis. This is a catastrophe. People's sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, spouses are dying as a result of the failure of the Biden administration to secure our border. So I'm a first-generation American. I understand why people want to come to this country, but what we have right now is chaos. And literally millions of people are illegally crossing because the Biden administration has incentivized and decriminalized it, and the cartels are exploiting that, Arthel. And so what they're doing is they're exploiting human beings and pushing a whole surge of drugs into our country, and it's going to lead to more crime, more violence, and more overdoses.
I want to take a look at some unfortunate statistics. This is going to be the Arizona overdose deaths from April 2020 to April 2021. Okay, so in April of 2020, last year, you had 2,154. April 2021, this year, 2,768. That is a 28.5% increase. And now we're going to look at Arizona total deaths from synthetic drugs. In January of 2018, 274. April of 2021, this year, 1,639. I mean, and I know that you say that this problem is persisting because of the lack of ability to control the border, you believe, by the Biden administration. But as you well know, drug smuggling, human trafficking, illegal border crossings, well, they're all problems that have plagued Democratic and Republican presidents. So, however, it is your position, or is it, I should say, is it your position that maybe a Republican administration is better suited to handle the crisis at the border, and maybe Democrats are just not equipped for the job? Is that what your take is?
I believe very strongly that the catastrophe at our border is a result of failed policies in Washington, D.C. And you were pointing out the numbers. In places, the second largest county in Arizona now, overdose deaths are the number one cause of deaths, more than car accidents and suicide for people under the age of 19. So this is impacting us in so many different ways. We have a record amount of drugs coming across the border. We've seen a 2.5 increase just over year from last year. We know that the prices of drugs are falling. We know that there's a record amount of people coming across this country, into our country illegally, undermining the rule of law. And at the end of the day, if you talk to law enforcement, you talk to Border Patrol agents, you talk to federal, state officials, they will tell you they've never seen it this bad. So this is not a problem. This is not a problem of right versus left. This is a fundamental issue of right versus wrong. And what do we do as a country to address a catastrophic problem? And sometimes we throw out these numbers, but these are all someone's son, daughter,
Absolutely.
niece, nephew, and we never can lose sight of that, Arthel.
You're so right about that. These are not just numbers. These are people who are loved. And I like what you said, that this is not a right versus left problem. This is a right. What did you say? Repeat that.
This is not a right versus left problem. It's a fundamental issue of right versus wrong, and we have to do the right thing, Arthel.
All right. Well, listen, I hope that you can get whatever help you need there in Arizona for the sake of the local community, but also for the sake of our country. So hopefully we can get something together here to make this problem go away, if not fix it in the short run. Okay, Attorney General from Arizona, Mark Brnovich, thank you very much for joining us. Take care, sir.